You're with your baby out on Lover's Lake. The wind blows cold. It chills your bones, but you're still on the make. That's a bad mistake. Hi guys, this is my review for Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. It was directed by Tom McLoughlin. I confess I've not seen any of his other movies, though I did see him interviewed recently on the Christy and Hannah Horror YouTube channel, and he seemed like an absolutely awesome guy just from watching that. I've not seen any of the other actors from Friday Part 6 in anything else either. I know Thom Matthews, who plays Tommy in this, had some success in the Return of the Living Dead films. I've still not seen any of those. I'm going to. The other lead here, Jennifer Cooke, who plays Megan, I was stunned when I was starting to plan this review to learn that she quit acting after 1986, which is the year that this film came out. She is arguably the standout performance in Friday Part 6, which makes this a very sad thing to learn. I mean, not only is she a very beautiful actress, but she's got an amazing charisma. Even when she's walking away from the camera in the jailhouse scene where Tommy's locked up, she's still dazzling with her personality. She's really good. So this is the film where Jason comes back for the first time since part 4. The way that he is brought back is a little clunky. So Tommy basically comes up with this harebrained scheme to dig up Jason's corpse with the purpose of then burning and destroying the corpse to send him to hell. So can somebody not already go to hell just by being dead? This is what he tells his friend anyway. I suspect, reading between the lines, that what he really wants to achieve here is to destroy the corpse so that this will stop giving him nightmares. But of course, as soon as the casket's open, a bolt of lightning indirectly hits Jason, reanimates him, and it's game on again. I mean, as a plot device to get Jason back in the game, it's absolutely preposterous, but it works because it's filmed brilliantly. I mean, when I first watched this at 13, 14 years old, I had the quilt up to my nose. It's such a scary scene. In my opinion, it's one of the best opening scenes in a slasher film there has ever been. I mean, watching this maggoty man just crawl out of a hole in the ground and rip some guy's heart out, and then he just stands there goading Tommy into make his next move, sucker. You know, rain lashing down against his face as maggots are falling off. It's top drawer stuff. So then Jason heads into town. It's now called Forest Green. The inhabitants have changed the name and done a very good job of making the entire town look differently to what it used to. Now, I'm sure this is just a different part of town than what we've seen before, in a different part of the woods as well. Going back to Tommy, he doesn't seem to have any hangover in this film from the events of part 5. I mean, there was a massacre at the halfway house. You would think he would be a little bit traumatized by that as well, but no. It's just the stuff to do with his mother when he was young. But if he had been traumatized by the Roy Burns experience, would he have then gone and dug Roy up as well? And if he had, would Roy have come back to life if he'd have been hit by lightning? Or is this just something that's kind of preordained with Jason? He's got that supernatural element to him. He's so evil that the devil himself and the Grim Reaper play a hand in getting him back where possible. So if lightning had hit Roy, would nothing have happened? And if Roy had come back as a zombie, would he have been stronger and not the sort of bloke to just do this in front of tractor headlights? Part 6 is known as the comic one, the one with lots of black humour in it, and normally this would be the death knell for any such film in a franchise. You know, you think of the reputation of Seed of Chucky, Freddy's Dead. I guess Texas 2 has its fans. I'm not one of them. But it's almost flipped on its head with Friday Part 6 because I'm pretty sure this is one of the most popular films in this franchise. And I think the reason for that is that this film is not actually dependent on its humour. So you could take the humour out of this film and it would still be a great slasher film. The humour's just there as a bonus. It doesn't go too far. It's just an extra bit of cream in the trifle, so to speak. And it doesn't hurt that every time this movie tries to be funny, it usually succeeds. The one exception is probably the guy getting his face smashed into the tree. That bit doesn't work for me. I still love that scene though. That really angry guy going, "Damn woman, she should be back in the kitchen." And then Jason just takes his arm off and starts staring at it. Brilliant. Let's talk a little bit about the kills, actually, because I think they're much improved in this movie compared to the last one. They just seem more creative. They just seem like they've had more thought put into them. And the characters who only appear in one or two scenes just to get killed are much more likable than a lot of the douches that were in part five. So if we take, for example, the couple who were drinking champagne, they're likable characters, even though they're in one scene. And I like the fact that their death scene is merged with the death of the gravekeeper. So if those two scenes had been kept separate, maybe they wouldn't be that remarkable. But if you fuse them together, it creates quite an impressive segment. I also like the part where the three paintballers get their heads chopped off, because you think that's such a safe scene, you know, three people walking together, strength in numbers, middle of the daytime, and then suddenly Jason jumps down and takes them all out. I think that's the first time in the franchise that Jason kills somebody by jumping out of a tree. As an aside, I think one of those paintballers looks like a young Gene Hackman, and I think the blonde who gets her head cut off looks like a young Laura Dern, just throwing that out there. Another one of my favourite sequences is with Court and his girlfriend. I just love that stuff from beginning to end, and Court's death is awesome. There's something about people dying to rock music which just does it for me. When I think of JJ in part 8 and Violet in part 5, it could be the most boring kill in the world. Jason just stabbing somebody in the stomach, put some rock music to it, and suddenly it's a great kill that I really look forward to. And that moment where Jason stood on top of the mobile home, it's just one of the most iconic shots in the whole franchise. If I could get a poster of Friday the 13th and just choose one scene, one image to put in it, it might be Jason stood on top of that mobile home. And I've got to mention one more kill, the one of the sheriff, because it's such a great chase. He gets to use his shotgun on Jason, and then he manages to escape Jason walking, which is not a very easy thing to do. And then he gets that great tussle with the rock and his back broken. It's just a really terrific kill. I like it when characters get the chance to fight Jason or at least run. It's much better than when somebody just gets stabbed in the back of the head and they didn't even know they were in a horror film. Strange as it is to think about it, this is the first time since the original that they've used an open and active summer camp. I've always thought that Jason is synonymous with summer camps and camp counselors, and yet when you think about it, out of the 12 movies, only 2 of them use open summer camps. And I never would have thought it possible that you could actually have young kids turn up to one of these things and then have Jason doing his terrorizing. I like the fact, though, that the film doesn't ask you to buy that it's a coincidence that only the adults die in this film. We clearly get that one scene where Jason walks past all the beds and there's that girl who looks like the girl from Poltergeist. She sits up. He's got a clear chance to kill her, but he doesn't take it. I'm glad about that because I like my killers evil. I don't like them evil. It's similar to that scene from Halloween 2018 when he gets the chance to kill the baby and doesn't take it. Good. So let's quickly talk about some of my favourite characters in this. I guess I already gave the game away earlier that Megan is my favourite. She definitely comes across as a bit of a thrill seeker. I don't know if she goes with Tommy because she fancies him and believes his story, or whether she fancies him and maybe doesn't believe his story. She just finds it exciting possibly to hang out with a killer. I hope it's the former. There is that really cool character moment though where she's sat on a chair and it sort of slowly topples over. It's not random that. I think it's deliberate on the screenwriter's part. It just shows that she is a girl who likes living on the edge. She likes that thrill of danger. I also like Paula, and I also like Deputy Cologne. I didn't realise for the longest time that he doesn't die in this, because it's easy to miss the first time you watch it with everything else going on. I think, though, 3rd or 4th time I was watching this film, I suddenly randomly thought, I can't remember where he died. He doesn't die. Anyway, I guess for my final positive today, I'll mention the ending. We get that great Alice Cooper song. We also get that great fight on the boat, and you get to see Jason getting churned up by the propeller. And then that brilliant shot of him just strapped to that rock at the bottom of the lake, and it's all green and slimy as it should be if Jason's in the lake. I can't imagine, though, how people enjoy boating if they know that Jason's down there. I mean, all the time you'd just be wondering to yourself, how much distance is there between Jason's outstretched arm and the surface of the lake? If it was real life, though, I don't think they would leave him down there. I think they would drag him out and get to the bottom of who exactly was responsible for all these new killings. I think they should have started the next film with loads of frogmen going down to get him out, and Tommy's on the side of the lake going, "No, let him drown, let him drown." I promise you, I have not stolen that idea from anywhere. It is all my own. So now for my negatives, I do have a few. So firstly, I would have had somebody else dig up the grave at the start instead of Tommy. It's a little bit problematic for me having your main hero be the cause of all the deaths to follow, and Tommy never really gets emotional about the fact that he causes the chain of events that happen here. In the video game, he always turns up halfway through a game of Friday the 13th with his sheepskin jacket and his hunting rifle. He looks really cool. It's sort of implied that he's the guy who turns up once a Jason problem has been identified, and I think they should have taken that approach in the movie. Also, as much as I like the Megan and Tommy characters individually, I think as a couple they don't have the most amazing chemistry, and Tommy doesn't seem into it at all. I think Tommy would have had a better romantic chemistry possibly with the psychic girl from part 7. And I can't remember the name of the main guy in part 7, but going the other way, I think he could have been a better match for Megan. And my other negative, so I've got 3, would be simply that the lake looks crap in this again. So we've had a really small lake now in part 3, part 4. This one, when you compare it to those massive lakes you used to get in part 1, part 2, it just doesn't compare. It wouldn't be until part 8, I guess, that we'd get the big lake back. I've started to think that Crystal Lake is not actually one lake. It's a whole bunch of lakes, some big, some small. So it's more Crystal Lakes to me than Crystal Lake, you know. Right, so let's get to the bag of terror and weigh up all these positives and negatives and see what sort of score I'm going to give for Friday part 6. Well, despite my negatives, it looks like there's still a fair few axes in here. 2, 3, 4, 4.5 bloody axes out of 5. I'm struggling to hold them up, but there they are, 4.5, and that is the 5th time out of 6 in my review series that I've given 4.5 out of 5 for a Friday the 13th movie. I think this film is great despite its flaws, and I'm looking forward to reviewing part 7. So I'll be back next time. In the meantime, don't go digging up any graves. Cheerio, bye-bye.